Yo, what is up, guys? It is Wraith. I'm back. We're on a different night as my headset falls over. We're on a different night for our weekly news. As you can see, we got a different guest as well. We got Sunny from Sundries, but we're gonna get through the news. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We're on a different night to accommodate our special guest who's coming all the way from Australia. How are you doing over there, Sunny?
Oh, not too bad. It's still quite warm, although it's getting winter. Although what the Australians call winter, I would call, or at least here I would call some kind of a late autumn or early spring.
I was gonna ask that. So what is there's a difference in it's the opposite, right? Because right now in the States we're going into spring, right? So you guys are
Yes,
going
because
into what, fall?
yes, be- because it's south of the equator, we're now going into autumn, basically. That starts in
Okay.
March. Then from June, July, August, it's winter, and then September we go into spring. So it's basically inverted.
Now originally, a little bit about you. Originally you're from Germany, correct?
That's right. That's correct.
That's
So
awesome.
most people might already recognize it through the accent.
Yes, you have a nice deep German accent, Sonny. So how long have you lived in Australia for?
A bit more than 2.5 years now.
Oh wow.
So not that long.
How do you like the difference between Germany and Australia?
Well, it's something new. That's what makes it uh, pretty interesting. And I must say, I'm living close to the coastline, and the sea never goes out of style. So that's gives some very beautiful views. And
I
it's not too bad.
I've
So,
seen on a map that
so I needed something.
most of the populated, well, pretty much the only populated areas of Australia are on like the coastline, and then you have like the middle the
Yeah,
middle of Australia, which is it
yeah,
looks like it's
because
uninhabitable.
you don't want to, yeah, you don't want it at all. At least I wouldn't want
Yeah, it
to.
seems like it's so does it so where you live, is it pretty temperate or does it get pretty hot?
We can get into the 40s, like uh, mid 40s.
40 Celsius,
Um,
right?
it's yeah, Celsius. Sorry, it's like in Fahrenheit would be around, I would say, between 103 and even 100.
Oh wow. Jeez. Yeah, that gets
So
pretty
it
hot.
can. I would compare it maybe to, I don't know, maybe California. Could that work out? Maybe Paris, I
Okay.
guess, can.
Yeah, we get California is a good comparison for where you are. Now, so when you were in Germany, you obviously grew up in Germany. That's where you really got into 40K, right?
Yes. So we have to the clock back 35 years. So just for an explanation, my friends and I usually were heavily into pen and paper role playing games. So we
Yep.
start with a German role playing game called The Dark Eye back in '84.
Oh wow.
And we had some D&D included at the end of the '80s. And one time was in 1990. Friend of mine, so we always gathered at some other friends of mine. They were living in town. I was living outside of town. One of them had a pretty large room for himself. We met there for role playing, and one day, one guy showed up with a brand new sealed box of Space Crusade. So like, well, wow,
Oh,
let's try this. We actually were into Hero Quest because that was released in
I was
'89.
gonna
So
say
like,
that
and
that seems like it was the big game
as a,
back then that got people into
yeah,
like
and
tabletop gaming.
as a fun as as a fun fact, in Europe, or at least in Germany, it changed the name from Space Crusade into Star because they get people who liked Hero Quest into Star Quest as well. So we first thought it would be like a dungeon crawl board game as well, but then it was actually more difficult than Hero Quest.
Sure.
But still, we really we we played the hell out of this game, and it's like when we first saw these little minutes at it, like really bulky armor, and but the helmet was really like distinctive with the visors and the respirators, and we thought like, so this is what happens when you fart inside a stormtrooper armor. That
I
was
know that
actually the first.
they just came out, what I think it was 2 years ago, with the HasLab came out with they did a
That
HasLab
was
for
5
Hero
years
Quest.
ago, 2020.
Was that 5
5
years
years
ago?
ago. I wish I would have. They had a crowdfunding,
That's right.
and I
That's right.
wish I
Yep.
could have joined that, but at that time I didn't know how to work this or how to work around, because they did USA and Canada shipping only. I think even only USA, and I
Oh.
didn't know how to get it to Germany. I didn't know about the parcel forwarding services, so I missed that one. I was really sad because they had so much stuff included. Even
Yeah.
an adventure book from Joe Manganiello or something. Really Italian style name. That's the actor. He's also into D&E. Manganiello. And yeah, unfortunately, I missed it. But then they released a regular version. I think the problem with Space Crusade is that that was a joint venture from Games Workshop and MB Games. And now basically
Oh.
Hasbro would have to strike a deal with Games Workshop again to get this done.
Mm.
And back
Which would never
in the Games
happen.
Workshop had back in the day, Games Workshop had a higher interest in that joint venture because they wanted to make more popular. Basically, I guess that's why
I get it.
Star Quest or Space Crusade was born. Yeah, so that was, as an honorable mention, was the first contact with. Then later in '93, when the first of my friends were 18 and acquired a driver's license, because in Germany you need to be 18. I know in most of the states, I think it's 15. So we had more mobility. So then that's when we ventured to the conventions. When we went to conventions, then like one was just 10 miles away. That was a brand new con which opened its doors every year. There were plenty of nerds, like with BattleTech, with Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer 40K, Space Hulk. I remember once they had a Space Hulk game, and the table, they had one corridor built with, of course, with side corridors and everything, but the main corridor was like for 6 yards long. I thought like, it's a good thing that this con lasts for 2.5 days. So that's how we got into, or I got into contact with this again. But I wasn't that much convinced at that time, because the problem was, even then, talked like they want very hard cash for that. Very like it was very expensive.
So they were
Especially,
hardlining
guess what?
their IPs even back then.
You needed a couple $100 to get into this hobby, and that was like. And
Wow.
then you
Back
thought
then,
like,
that's
okay, I got this figure, and then I need to assemble this, and I need to paint this. And there were other tabletop games where you get actually a fully assembled and sometimes even painted figure for the same money.
wow. I mean,
That was a bit
that's
of
kind
a
of the
mess.
JOYTOY. That's kind of the JOYTOY miniature thing right now. By the way, I want to quickly say, what's up, Smoke? What's up, T3? Thank you for joining. We also got some updates before the stream from Mythic Dolphin on the Bathier Mythic Legions campaign that's currently going on, and is the last day tomorrow. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But so you got into 40K when you were younger. Now, when
In in
did
90,
you play the
in
tabletop
'98 were the video
competitively?
games. Uh, Only with friends. My friends, they that was actually, but not before, like in the mid 2000s, like a couple of years after the Millennium, because then friends of mine started their army. So I had a friend who was totally into Dark Elder,
Mm.
which, by the way, out of curiosity, their codex, their old code, like third edition or whatever, that was the only codex where there was an example game where the Dark Elder, the faction mentioned the codex, lost. Usually the faction of the codex wins in that match, but they lost it. he was playing Dark Elder. I had another friend with Tau and I don't know, one Marine, Blood Angels,
Yep.
and Tau, and another friend with Tyranids. So I entered with the Necrons because I thought the Necrons at that time was the best deal because they were most expensive army, or one of the most expensive army. For example, so an average Space Marine tactical marine was 14 points. One
Oh wow.
Necron warrior, so the standard warrior, was 18 points, like
Oh
4
wow.
points more. So you need that. So for 15 points, which was the usual thing, like when you did in tournaments, they usually use between 1,000 and 1,500 points max.
Oh
And
wow.
that got me Lord, which was the only warlord, only HQ selection. Yeah, they worked differently, like 10th edition. So you had your HQ, you had the standard troops, faster elites, and heavy support. So I had these. I had 30 Necron warriors. One squad, you need squads had to be at least 10 warriors. Others than with the Space Marines, where you had five man group to build a tactical team. So that technically 3 squads of Necrons, or I built 2 by 15, or 1 10 group, 1 20 group.
Oh.
7 destroyers and 2 monoliths, because the monoliths actually were the workhorse at that time. The
So
monoliths were
your
pretty
main
scary.
army, your main army that you played them was Necrons. So then my next question to
Yeah.
you is, did you pick up any JOYTOY Necrons when they became available or no?
No, I haven't gotten any Necrons yet.
They were one of the first releases of like a Xenos race. So it's and I don't think like they were very I don't think they were super popular because I just
Yeah,
feel like the
it's not,
design could have been
the
better.
thing is, I think it's because JOYTOY haven't released yet what the Necron fans want. Because
Mm,
I looked at the selection they had currently, and it was pretty standard, and they only offered like one of the overlords, they are called now, and that's a
mm,
bit of a letdown, I would say. They
I
could do
get it.
also like know the studies knows of the Scorpion Lords or whatever. So it's a bit limited right now. I mean, the Iron Hands are also
Oh, we're gonna
surprising
believe me,
enough,
but we're gonna get to the Iron Hands in a minute. Don't worry about that. I want to call out Recon Rage because he says he's got 16 Necron JOYTOY figures. So Rage, do you have them split between what they have for JOYTOY, or give me in the chat what is your breakdown of the figures that you got from JOYTOY? Because I'd be interested to understand that, because I haven't picked up any of the Necrons. Um, so that you touched a little bit on it. So you went from the Necrons, and then did you ever play the Iron Hands in the tabletop game?
no. So what I did is, actually what I did is, a friend of mine and I, from like 2007 to 2011, we organized tournaments. That's what we did. So
Mm,
he actually started, and he got in a year later because he wanted someone to like did all the thing with keeping track of the points, and then determine the winner and everything. So I did all the sound, basically the IT stuff, and I did a bit of a referee too.
mhm.
But in 2011, then the interest for it stopped. So I sold my stuff and everything. Then in 2019, I think, a friend of mine had the idea, like, oh, let's start the Death Watch role playing game. So that is one of the campaign settings from the fantasy flight games, role playing games. So you have Death Watch, you have Dark Heresy, you have Rogue Trader, you have Black Crusade, where you can play
Oh wow.
the Traitor Legion.
Yep.
It only was fun. Then you play and you have to make multiple characters, because as a guardsman you die quickly. So you have more characters just in case one bites the dust.
So I'm gonna be super what's the word I'm looking for, selfish here, because I know nothing about the Iron Hands. Okay, so it's very fortuitous that I have you on here. So who's the Primarch of the Iron Hands?
They have no more Primarch. He's dead. That used to be Ferrus Manus. It used to be Ferrus Manus. That was his name. Funny.
He became
Iron Hands.
traitor. Yeah, he went traitor, correct?
No, he's not. No, he's not a traitor. He was killed. So
He was
what
killed.
happened
Okay.
was when the whole heresy, basically that whole thing was initiated, the Iron Hands were basically lured into a trap. Or it wasn't to be a trap at first, because Fulgrim, that's the Primarch of the Emperor's Children, he tried to win Ferrus Manus and Iron Hands over to the traitors. He tried to convince him to join the cause of chaos, but Manus refused and got killed by Fulgrim. So that also enraged the other Iron Hands. So they fought against, I don't know, I guess 3 of the traitor legions, and suffered heavy losses in that fight. Same happened to the Raven Guard, although they could at least they keep their Primarch. But yeah, so they were heavily hammered by all the traitor legions until then. We arrived in the form of the other loyalist chapters then who could
I
push
get it.
back.
So
But they
Recon Rage just gave
the
a.
East Front was a massacre for the Iron Hands.
That's what it was. Isstvan 5.
And they
that's right.
They went down from a legion to actually only a chapter. So basically organized in 10 companies, but instead of number the companies, they use clan names for their companies. So that's and
I get it.
they are still, though they are still active, so they haven't been like disbanded or something. They're still organized, and actually the clans are supposed to be quite autark from each other. For example, every company has their own armory. Usually that's a unified thing from each chapter, but they are maintaining and holding their own. And then, because their planet is pretty hostile, so they have like a lot of tectonic plates, a lot of activity, like earthquakes, volcanoes, and they don't have like large, tall buildings. I think they have only one chapel or something, one major building there. Otherwise they recruit from some nomads and all that stuff. So yeah, you can compare them a bit to the Death Corps of Greek, but the Death Corps of Greek destroyed the planet themselves, and that was also up on the beginning.
It's a little bit different. So Blake said in the chat, because I asked him what is his breakdown, because he said he has 16 Necrons. So he's saying that he has 8 Necrons from the destroy this name, Scissorkin Dynasty Immortal. So these ones, Scissorkin Dynasty Deathmark. So you have, yeah, it doesn't. Destiny. So help me out here, Blake. Which of the ones do you have? Because there's 3. There's a Deathmark one. There's a Mortal. Oh, these ones right here. This is, well, it's the Tesla. Cape. Jesus Christ. Tesla Carbon or the Gauze Blaster. So these look cool. And it's funny too. All of these ones that he has are the ones that are sold out. And I think the Overlord, I think he said he has the Overlord. Dynasty Immortal. Yeah, no, he doesn't have the Overlord. But these are cool. So any before we go back to the Iron Hands, do you have any interest in picking these up eventually, or not really? You want to see like them come out with some additional upgrades?
Depends on what they come up with. If they come up with, especially if they release destroyers, and maybe some more overlords or even some characters, because you have like Trasin the Infinite. I'm not sure if they come up with the Silent King, because then they have this big floating thingy, and that would cost a fortune, I guess.
That's listen, they came out with a knight. We got an Imperial Knight, so
Emotech. They could also release Emotech, so they have plenty of options there. So they're now directors. Maybe even some of the Satan, like they could bring the Shard of the Night, bring a Shard of the Deceiver. Technically, not the Outsider. That one isn't the Shard. the fourth Satan god is pretty much alive.
So Recon Rage just let us know He has every single one of these. So actually, Rage, you're the first person that I know has every single one of the Necrons, and I know a lot of people with JoyToy figures. So that's pretty cool. So you've gotten all of these figures here.
On the other hand, I got the Necrons Harlan toys.
Actually, I saw those in a Walgreens a long time ago. I was not impressed. I was not impressed. So these are the Necrons. So we're gonna go back to the Iron Hands here. So now, so you have obviously you have the Captain and Terminator armor, and we'll ask in a second what you think of
Yeah,
that. You
thank
have
you very much for that. Thank you.
that's don't worry about that. So do you have
Yes,
Father Fenris?
this is actually that's only named or the only character in their supplement or in their codex, if you want to call it that way. Yes, of course, I got this one. This is actually not difficult to choose from. That's my favorite figure, actually.
Oh
So,
wow. Yeah, I was gonna say because I have a Tech
and yeah,
Marine, but he looks like he's
that's
got
yeah,
way more shit on him.
yeah. That's because basically this is like a master of the forge. The Iron Fathers, which are also part of the Iron Counts, which run the Iron. They are like a bit, yeah, Tech Marine Supreme, if you will. That's
Yeah.
also when they start not having just one servo arm. They have a whole servo harness. So then they usually come up. The normal configuration is 2 servo arms. Then they have a torch, a Feist line torch, what it's called. It's like a flamer, and also a plasma thing. So they have
Wow.
lots of tools. Everything can be used as a weapon too. That one has still his arms, by the way. Those arms are really well articulated. So I have lots of points of
How is
articulation. Turn this
how's the
thing here,
hold?
and you can pull this out, and it
It
puts
dangles.
the arm
That's
back
hysterical.
in.
That's hysterical. I
And
want to
he
give a quick
has
go ahead. I just want to give a
yeah,
quick
he
shout
has
out to
the Gorgon.
Loan Me a Smile. I haven't seen you in the chat before, so he says he's already pre-ordered the Imperial Knight and Agron. So those two are awesome. They're massive. But 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 Father Fenris, first of all, am I pronouncing his name right? I feel like I'm not pronouncing his name right.
Pharaoh. Pharaoh.
Ferrus. Okay. He has actually a really good head sculpt. Do you like the head sculpt on him?
He looks actually 100% like the miniature, and is
Wow.
absolutely totally authentic. They did a great job with him. They did a really good job with that figure.
Wow.
And he comes, unlike the other four Iron Hands
Intercessors.
Marines, he comes with a base. The other one don't come with a
Oh,
base, and that one is not even shown on the back.
that's because those are the
Yeah, but everything.
run, yeah.
It's really cool. Like with the Gorgon's Draft, that's a heavy bolter which is attached to the servos and firing basically automatically. And
Wow.
even got the belt going into this box and everything. So
Oh,
you see
wow. I
the
can't let me
ammunition
see if I can
stuff.
get a picture because I don't have him. Oh, yeah, I can see it on the back here.
So
Very
so
cool.
that's it's the sculpt is amazing. The sculpt is top notch.
So obviously they have a
You
pretty
have
strong
all these
connection.
pieces, all the arms and everything. You all of that, and even ball
They did
joints, so you can turn this
that
around and
that's awesome. Look at all his
yeah,
stuff he comes with,
lots of
dude.
fun.
Yeah, of course he's is he sold out? No, he's still available. No, he is sold out. Sorry. He is sold out. All the Iron Hands sold out. So they have a pretty close connection to the Mechanicus, right? As far as
Yeah,
do
of
they
course.
work together?
They do on occasion. So with the Iron Hands is this. They are pretty like they pretty secluded chapter. So the other only deal with them if they must. That's
Oh,
because
wow.
they find themselves as pretty like they're loyalists. They're loyal to the emperor. That, but they're really like after this the Horus Heresy, they were in deep trauma. So that still lasts today. For example, their first clan, the Averni clan, which was like they were the protectors of their Primarch. Since they failed, they are in deep and they still blame themselves for that failure.
Oh wow.
And that also lead them into trying to get to shed off more humanity and become more machine. They already were dabbling into cybernetics and bionics, but with that, they think that's because of their failure. They have to become machine to overcome this. But that creates the conflict that they know that if they become all machine, they cannot venerate the emperor anymore. So because they will turn practically like internet. So that's pretty tough. And the Iron Fathers, like Pharaohs, they even try to that humanity part of them, or that human part is still intact, because they still require both sides of the coin.
Is it the Iron Father? Is he the chapter leader essentially? He's the highest. Is he the highest within the Iron
They
Hands?
have no. He's part of the council which leads the chapter. So he's part of the council. He's a council member. Among the council are several Iron Fathers of different clans, as well as a bunch of dreadnoughts. So you could say that technically the Iron Hands have the highest amount, or the largest amount of dreadnoughts per
I would
capita,
think so.
because
Holy shit! Yeah.
they try to keep everyone alive. They even when Ferrus Manus was still around, they even had a project which was secret. He forbid to continue. It was called the Keys of Hell, HEL, like hell. That was, they actually created. They reanimated Iron Hands. So basically, you had Iron Hands zombies.
Wow. That definitely sounds grimdark, dude. Definitely.
But they don't have that. Yeah, that's really grimdark chapter. But
you know what I'm noticing?
Despite all of that,
I'm noticing with these intercessor figures
that's
on the helms.
No, that's Bantus. Yeah, that's Bantus. Yeah.
Yeah, on the helms, they have cybernetics on the helm, so they're not just standard.
That's unique to him. That's a unique sculpt to Brother Bantus.
That's really
the
cool.
others, two of them come with a helmeted head and also an open head, so or a free head. So you have cybernetics on them.
I was gonna say, did they come?
The only thing is,
that's okay. Go ahead.
And they all come. That's actually a good thing. They thought about that. I like that. Every Iron Hands should have at least one bionic hand, because that's the chapter trapping. That's what they have.
Sure.
Like, I think during the we call initiation or confirmation, that's they have to sacrifice part of them to the Omnisire, the machine god, basically. So it's usually the hand. Hence the name Iron Hands.
Sure.
But other chapters have things too, like, for example, the Blood Angels. Usually a Blood Angel specimen has either a blood drop pendant, which contains blood of sanguineous, or they have what else? They had there was another thing they had. A golden icon. So, like, even when they join a Death Watch, for keep the stuff like golden
original
icons of sun on their ground. So or the Ultramarines have the Kingulus or Chingulus. That's a belt. Or they have a heraldry scroll on them. So all the chapters have their own, or the Death Watch have ceremonial swords. So that's their stick, basically, their trapping.
These head sculpts are really good.
A lot of them, all of them, a cybernetic arm on the right. I don't know why so many of them, but yeah, why not? What they don't have, that's a bit of a minus. None of those figures bionic locomotion. So usually you would see that if they had cybernetic legs, that would stick out. You would see like all these parts and everything, because they're made of adamantium. They are really durable, so you don't need armor around that anymore.
I will say the legs, though, the upper thighs on the picture, I don't have the figure itself. Let me look on the back of the legs. Now, these are standard. I was going to say it looks from the front here that this might be a cybernetic like thigh, but it's not. I'm looking at the back of the figure.
You would see that, because there would be no armor. That would be totally very open. But it's supposed to be as robust as armor, basically. Because and
Oh,
especially in they have the Iron Hands usually use exceptionally crafted or even master crafted bionics. And they even have their chapter has access to artificer bionics, which is
these dude,
usually
these
reserved for
heads are
some force.
these are some of the best heads I've seen. Is this how like how the heads are sculpted? I know that I don't know if this is preliminary, but dude, these heads are so good.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
in
they
the
look like
chat
that. Even
if you guys can see this, but these heads are
even
really good.
those both
Wow.
they also come with, but even they're not the same. So there are two guys with those heads, and their heads they're not identical. They're different
So
sculpts even. So
yeah, so these are the Intercessors 2.0 that came out. These are all sold out. Obviously, we'll see if they do a rerun, but these look really cool.
only
I'm
disappointing,
yeah, I wasn't a big fan
only
of the
disappointing is the assault marine. The assault marine first. I think the Iron Hands are not too much into assault. They
yeah.
It would have been more appropriate to release a Devastator because they make heavy weapons. So what this army is they are mostly ranged focus, so ranged
Mhm.
fighting,
Yep.
and they make extensive use of mechanized warfare. So they have lots of tanks, dreadnoughts, and they have their tech marines are second to none. Among this, they have the best tech marines, and they keep their vehicles alive in combat or running in combat. Even it's up to the
Yeah.
point I heard from some tabletop gamers that they are able, like there are some vehicles where people say they're not worth the points,
Yep.
but the are able to make them work in the game. And in the 8th edition, when they got their own supplement, they were actually considered overpowered, so they got a big nerf that in the 9th edition. And now, unfortunately, in the 10th edition, they're not really worth playing, so they would have to acquire or new
Oh, they're
codex
not
for
worth
themselves
playing?
with their own spec.
Oh, that's right. All the
Currently, no.
Marines.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't play them. They need their own. They were also exceptionally sturdy. So like in the 8th and 9th edition, every Iron warrior had feel no pain. That means like you have your armor saves, your invulnerable saves, but apart from that, if an Iron Hand suffers a wound or mortal wound, which is not negated, he can roll a feel no pain roll, and on a 6, that wound is ignored, so he
Oh,
won't
wow.
suffer that wound.
Holy
That
shit.
on a 6 plus, that sounds a bit high, but on average, that would say the whole army has 16% more hit points or wounds, if you will. And there were tricks like the like warlords and stuff. They could even get a 5+ roll.
Oh, wow.
If you have multi hit point model, that was really tough. And
Wow.
the so this is the thing, like they're pretty tough or pretty sturdy as such. Yeah, um, the Ferrus has had an aura which gave all units, including vehicles, a 5+ invulnerable save. They nerfed that, so now he now can only affect infantry, but before they had it in everyone.
Oh,
And
wow.
the reason why they had not released named dreadnoughts for them is because they had a certain rule called the March of the Ancients. So what a Iron Hands player could do at 8th edition, he could consider call all his dreadnoughts in the army characters. They were all characters, thus could benefit from anything a character or warlord can have. Nerf
Wow.
that to only one, so you could name only one dreadnought as a character, but still you could make him a warlord, give him a 5 feel no pain and all of that, those benefits. And I guess the reason that is like they cut corners with that, because when you name characters from other armies, they always have their fixed preset of weaponry. With the Iron Hands, you can say, okay, this is now furnace, change and mix up the armament and the weaponry here. Yeah. So if
Wow.
you don't want to have that claw and you want to have a big plus instead or whatever. You want to add a rocket launcher, you can do so.
Oh, wow.
And it's still a character.
So we got some more people in the chat. First, I want to say, what's up, Jay Spark? And then Loan Me a Smile said, I recently bought a bundle containing World Eaters 1 through 3, which I did. I actually picked up Lord of Vonicus a couple of weeks ago and picked up one additional World Eater. So I got those. And then he said, when I received my package, I noticed there were 2 extra Berserkers. I didn't pay extra. God bless whoever packaged them. Wow. So you got 5 total 5 total figures of the World Eaters. That's pretty cool. And we got Jay in here, and then we know Jay is waiting for, he's a huge Salamanders fan, Suni, so he's waiting for Vulcan to be officially released. And Fenris, I'm sure, will be the Primarch for the Iron Hands will eventually be released in the 30K line. So you're definitely going to pick up the Iron Hands when they come out in the Horus Heresy line, right?
Iron Hands. Anytime.
Yeah, that's what I figured. This model right here. I actually want to ask you a question. If you can compare, take your intercessors and then compare them to this size of because this came out pretty recently. This was just recently released. So I want to see if this is the larger Terminator, and I'm going to grab my one.
Shall I open it up? Do a size by comparison direct?
Yeah. Open them up. Because I want to see. I'm very interested because this looks like the new Terminator model.
There was simultaneously with that figure, they released an Ultramarines Terminator Captain, and at least the torso, and I think partially the legs and some stuff, and as well as the Rosarius was identical. And although the Ultramarines fans got a bit more out of it, so he had 2 weapons. The other guy, the Ultramarines.
Yep.
And 2 extra hands. That one has only 1 weapon and 1 extra hand because he has that big power fist with skulls even.
Because I'm looking at the back of this Terminator for the Iron Hands, and it looks identical to the Blood Angels one, which was just recently released. So it is okay.
And
even got the power fist too on this one. So
what's unique is, I don't know what these are called at his joints. Kind of, it's not a shield. I don't know. It's some kind of
I see on his arms. Yeah, it's not on the one for Blood Angels. Yeah. The Blood Angels one doesn't have it.
He comes with, but this is actually not a bad weapon. What they gave him. Is
that a multi?
This is supposed to be. This is a combi weapon, but if I'm right, this could be a relic from the Iron Hands called the Betrayer's Bane.
Oh wow!
So the difference is, usually a combi weapon, you choose either to fire the bolt gun or the bolter, or you fire the alternate weapon. That's in that case could also be plasma or something. So you couldn't use either or. With the Betrayer's Bane, the difference is you can fire both weapons at once.
I was gonna say the heat on those things must be crazy.
And the Melter an assault 1 weapon, so not 1 shot per turn, but it's an assault 2, so it fires two shots. That's not bad. In like at 12 inches on the tabletop, that should be like, you would have 2 bolter shots and 2 melter shots.
Wow. So the reason why I asked this question is because when I did my Blood Angels review of like 20 something figures, I reviewed him and I opened the 2 new Terminators that came out, and these are really big Terminators compared to the older ones that came out. And it really has to do with the leg, the upper leg piece. But I wanted to see if this one was also the same model, and it is. So it looks like, yeah, he's huge. So that's awesome. So you got the much larger Terminator. That's great, dude. He looks awesome.
You can compare to the other big guy in the room. That's he still is overtowering.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. So now, are you okay that they didn't come with a alternate masked helm for the Terminator, or it doesn't matter to you for these guys?
And what I would have hoped for is not necessarily a helmet because Captain usually they keep their face
Sure.
shown on that they not use helmets that often. Some do, but
Oh yeah,
even then,
enhanced
the
captain.
thing is heavily like if he has cybernetics, like if his skull maybe is also artificially, it might have the
Oh
same
yeah.
effect as well.
Yeah, I would have expected like
um,
half of his
but
face to
what
be cybernetic.
I would have hoped for like to replace the fist and the weapon with a thunder hammer and storm shield because Iron Hands Terminators make use of that quite frequently. So being like a bulwark
Oh,
advancing enemies.
I see what
They
you're
like to
saying.
use thunder hammer and storm shield.
I
So
get it.
that would have been great, but it's not too bad. I mean, if they, I mean, that was a clever selection of a weapon for him actually.
Yeah.
If it's supposed to be the betrayer of Spain, because that's not a bad relic at all.
Yeah. And in the chat, T3 was correcting me. It's Ferrus, not Fenris. So Ferrus. So I apologize.
Fair,
I
yeah,
will make that I will make that
fair.
that fix from now on. But they actually came out with, I was actually surprised. They came out, it's not a large amount of the Iron Hands, but it's more than the Raven Guard. The Raven Guard only got the four intercessors and their chapter master, Cavian Strike.
which is
So
actually pretty sad.
yeah,
Which
it's
is
a
actually pretty sad because A, they're also first founding, and B, it's a pretty cool chapter actually.
oh dude, I love
So
the
so
so
that
I'm only I'm only collecting, but I have now five loyalist chapters, and obviously the Raven Guard is one of them. But I am really, really interested in when they come out with the Raven Guard and the Salamanders chapter for the Horus Heresy. So when those figures come out, because if you've seen any of the Blood Angel figures reviews I did, those are insane for the Horus Heresy figures. So I'm super excited. Now that I know a bit more too about the Iron Hands, their color scheme is great because I love the black, silver, and white of the Iron Hand. So this looks great. And then it's very fortuitous that you actually are on today with me, and we're talking about the Iron Hands. And I busted out my Tech Marine, which I'm gonna take the Ultramarine parts off and switch them over to a Blood Angel soon. But they just announced, or they leaked, somebody leaked these data miners from Space Marine 2, the video game, that it looks like there's going to be some kind of an engineer or a tech marine in the game. So that will be very interesting. So do they have the Iron Hands yet in Space Marine 2? Do you know or no? Actually, T3 will know this. T3, let me know
not
if the
I
Iron
know.
Hands. Yeah, I don't think the Iron Hands are in, I don't think you can set them up as colors. I don't think so. But these are really cool. I like the, again, I really, really like the second edition of the Intercessors. So much so that I'm thinking of buying up more of them because they're not going to be making them anymore. Obviously, they're going to go with a larger scale. But I really like that Intercessor second version body and everything about it. I feel like they did a really good job, and it's kind of sad that they're moving away from that size for the Intercessors. So, but so you have all of the Iron Hand figures. What is the next, because we're gonna have the full line with when they come out essentially in the Horse Heresy for the 40K figures. What else would you like to see if you could have two more of these figures for the Iron Hands? What would you like to see for Joy Toy?
You, two more for the Iron Hand, so definitely a
Yep,
Dreadnought. Definitely, that's number one choice, a Dreadnought. And what I would prefer is like I mean I get it. They look also like at cost effective, so they brought in an assault marine, although that's not really. They should go with either the or devastators, maybe with different weapons,
sure.
or what's it called, the aggressors, which have jetpacks and those cannons, that would be a good choice. Like that's a disappointment also with that assault necessity. He does not even come with a jump pack. That's actually a lead. They should have at least a
Yeah, they don't
jump.
have any jump packs for the Iron
That's
Hands. I noticed that. Yeah, you're right. So we got a question from the chat. So Loan Me a Smile asks, question for all you, do you display your figures with or without the helmets, or does it depend on what figure it is? I'm going to answer this question for you first. Always with the helmets, okay? It's very, very rare do I want my figures with for Space Marines to not have their helmets on. I think their helmets designs are too cool, and then we start to get into the whole thing of, yeah, you kind of really don't wanna not be wearing your helmet if you ever get, like, shot at. So, yeah. So for me, it's always gonna be always gonna be a helm. What do you think, Sonny? What's your
Actually,
opinion?
in in the role playing game, actually, Iron Hands prefer also helmet on. Interestingly, so they are really that sense practical. Although if again, if you have like in a role playing game, if you have a lot of cybernetic, especially like if you have a full prosthesis, like if you have like an arm replaced, that one is sturdy and a natural arm, so gets the armor value plus whatever toughness. And in some case where you have so much stuff implanted into your head, it becomes like it. But yeah, usually they go with helmets. The reason, like for example, Space Wolves, they prefer to go without.
Yeah, dude.
And
I don't like
in
the
the
Space
role
Wolves.
in the role, I'm not that for me that's too mainstream. But Space Wolves, the Dark Angel, that's for me all remains. That was the main
What about the Grey Knights? They're not
Space
mainstream,
Marine
right?
player thing. In that, back in the day when we played with other people around, most of like when you face someone with a Space Marine army, not from Marines, that's too
Mainstream.
yeah
The Blue
too big.
Boys.
Then the second tier mainstream. So Blood Angels, they played Dark Angels and only Deathwing, so they had the Terminators. Before that, Ravenwing and Deathwing actually was separated. And the definitely the Deathwing chapter was the third one. Then Imperial Fists, but only with Captain Lysander's. That had a certain effect when you did like deep striking.
Sure.
Black Templars were pretty popular too.
Yep.
And when it comes to Xenos, then I guess the number one Xenos was really Elder, because they were just, that was back in the day of third, fourth, cookie cutter army. It was like, and then some Tyranids, some Orcs.
So we got an answer to my question before about the Iron Hands in Space Marine 2. So they are in Space Marine 2. Just surface stuff. And by the way, what is up, Inc? What's going on, sir? I haven't forgotten about your animated logo, by the way. I'll get you that by the end of this weekend. But yeah, so the Iron Hands are in Space Marine 2. It looks like they have the chapter colors and some of the heraldry, pretty much just surface level heraldry, pretty much in colors. I will say, dude, I think I'm probably gonna get this Fenris. He looks, I don't have any of the Iron Hand
he's an
figures.
awesome figure.
Yeah, he's really good. He's sold out, but I'll search
If
for
anyone,
him.
that should be him.
Yeah, he's really cool. And because again, I have one Tech Marine that's the Ultramarine, right? I don't know why they didn't come out with him as a Blood Angel, but I'm gonna take his Ultramarine stuff off of him and turn him into a Blood Angel Tech Marine. But this is actually a really cool figure, dude, and I'm very, very happy that the Terminators that for this to the Iron Hands Captain Terminator is the larger, newer one. I'm very happy with that because the smaller, shorter ones is that mid thigh that has to be replaced, but I'm very happy that this one is a taller one. So we're gonna jump over to the news this week, which we actually have some JOYTOY news. Can you believe it? It's so cool. So we got more of the Horus Heresy once this loads. So we got more of the Horus Heresy Terminators now. Not the Horus Heresy Alpha Legion Terminators. So we previously had Alfurius, we had the consoles, we had a Dreadnought. About a week ago, we got some more figures of the Alpha Legion. But I will say this, and then I'm going to get your opinion on this. These figures look so cool, dude. Like, just the coloring of their armor with the scale, and I was saying this to
Yeah.
Spark before, this is evident, and also T3 on the last one, the last news we did, this is perfect for this scale. You know the Salamanders are coming this year. Salamanders are definitely coming for Horus Heresy, but what's your feel on these Terminators, dude? They're so cool, at least in my opinion. That's the other thing, I'm not gonna buy them. I'm sitting here pumping them up, but I'm not gonna buy them. But they actually look really good, dude. The armor on this and the way that they have the copper or more, it's like a gold with the green and the matte black or gray. What is your opinion on these? Just the way they look.
The color schemes, the details, the textures, they are amazing. I mean, it's really well done. And the Alpha Legion actually is a pretty interesting legion as such. So it's the 20th of the first founders. They're actually very serious. So what they do is actually they do a lot of false flag operations, right? So they take up like armors of legions. So it's actually, you shouldn't play an army of them. If you play an Alpha Legion army, you should put in figures other
They're
chapters,
just
but not
copying.
themselves.
These-
They're operating far off the Eye of Terror, so they're not making much use of demons either. They
yeah,
are more into like they are
subterfuge.
recruiting from, and they're recruiting from the empires, so they move people over and everything. And they, for example, remember this, was it Secret Levelers? That one video or that one film with the femme Stodies or the female Stodies, who then like told the Space Marines to like renounce their oath to protect the people of the planet and blah. Those were the first recipients for the Alpha Legion to recruit, because
Oh,
this is okay. We can't keep our vows, so we become traitors
well,
because
that's just
the empire or the emperor betrayed us.
wow. One thing that's interesting about for the Horus Heresy
That's a
figures,
good
and
one.
I'm sure in the 40K that this is probably already there, but from my experience with the JOYTOY figures, I've only seen like power armor and then Terminator armor in 40K. So see the different versions of the Terminator armor. I know that there's Gravis armor in 40K, but to see like Cataphracta Terminator armor, and then the other ones are wearing Lunarian Terminator armor. So this is these are dude, these are such cool looking figures. If I was an Alpha Legion fan, man, would I be happy. I loved that the Blood Angel figures came out so well. Man, I tell you, dude, JOYTOY is like absolutely killing it with each of the releases of these Horse Heresy figures, dude. They're just doing such a
Well,
great,
I
great
also want
job,
to say
dude.
like those were early versions, and it's also recognized that with the articulation, because up there I've also Titus and Sharon and Gabriel
Yep,
from the game, the
yep.
figures. Articulation is much better than from the early Iron Hands. So,
Oh yeah,
for
from the
example,
intercessors.
um, Titus can, or his friends can fully like bend their arms, stretch their arms and stuff. And here,
Double
like
jointed
he have
elbows, yeah.
such limitations. Yeah, so there's a lot more going on with the new ones,
Yeah.
and
Dude,
and they also feel more stable. They feel more stable with those guys. Even like often ends when you try to attach them, they come off again. So it's really enjoyable.
yeah.
It's on. So they really stick on.
So my question for the chat is, So what I'm doing is with the Alpha Legion is I'm buying anything that I don't specifically collect. I'm buying like the Primarch and two of the foot soldiers or whatever, two of the soldiers to go with them. Is there anybody in the chat that's collecting all of the Alpha Legion figures? I'd be interested to see. So if anybody in chat is actually going to grab all of these Horus Heresy Alpha Legion figures, I'd be very interested to hear that. And then we got another comment from Loan Me a Smile. If they release the Night Lords, um, do you think they will be decorated with pieces of flesh? Kind of disappointing the World Eaters didn't have gore on them and blood for for the blood god, I guess. I would say this for the Night Lords. If you see like it's hard because the Horus Heresy Night Lords were they were evil, right? But they weren't what they were in 40K. I don't think we're going to see the Night Lords in 40K before we see them in Horus Heresy. I feel like we'll see them in Horus Heresy, and if that's the case, I don't think we'll see like their armor decorated with flesh and stuff like that. I think that will come possibly when we get them in the 40K, but like your comment said, you know, we didn't see the World Eaters with any kind of crazy gore or anything on them. So I don't know that the Night Lords would be like that. And I guess this is for you, Sonny. So did the World Eaters miniature 40K figures have like crazy gore and stuff on them?
Not necessarily. Depends how we paid them. Yep. Well,
So that
you can put some stuff in some decals, but in the end, it depends. I mean, I haven't seen the newer versions. So when I think of the World Eaters, I think about like fourth edition. They were, yeah, pretty normal actually. It's more like when you look at the demon engines and stuff. So you have when they have tanks which are obsessed by demons and stuff. That looks
sure.
really weird, but yeah. Oh yeah, regarding Strategic, because he says most of his space wolves got their helmet on. So I once met a guy, and his army was not one miniature with a helmet. A space wolf,
Oh
not
wow.
miniature with a helmet. And as a fact, like when I played the Deathwatch RPG, we had one space wolf librarian in the team. Actually, I want to be the librarian, but it did. Um, But yeah, he wasn't. He was the only character, or he had the only who was not wearing a helmet either. Because in the role playing game, if you don't wear the helmet, you get more renown, and with renown, you get access to certain stuff quick. So that's
Oh,
why.
so
But also,
oh, okay, so it's in the RPG game. Okay, I get it.
yeah,
So
it's basically like if you have no show guts, it's like I can do without. Then you get more reputation or higher reputation faster.
I
That's what
get
it is,
it.
basically. It makes somewhat sense, actually, if you can be recognized that easily.
So we got an answer to my question. So loan me a smile said he'll be collecting the Alpha Legion. So are you gonna get all of the Alpha Legion figures, or are you gonna get most of the Alpha Legion figures? Again, I'm gonna get Alfarius and then two of the consoles. So those are my three Alpha Legion figures I'm gonna get. Maybe another Alfarius to be Omega Gun, but I'm gonna wait and see if they come out with anything additional or if there's like a super cheap version of another Alfarius out there. So, any interest within for you, Sonny, to pick up any of the Horus Heresy figures at all that have come out at this point?
Difficult. Not yet, because I'm waiting for the Iron Warriors, actually.
Oh
I'm waiting for the Iron
wow.
Warriors. And especially for Perturabo. I want to see that one, because that must be a massive one, especially when you look at his arms with all the cannons.
Yeah, holy shit, that's true. Wow. That
So I hold my money for the Iron Warriors, actually.
I got it. Yeah, I think I think this year where if I had to put my money on more Horse Heresy figures, I think we're gonna see the Salamanders 100%, and I got my Salamander. Blade Guard up on my desk here. I think we're gonna see salamanders in 30K because this armor is just like the scale armor is just like too perfect, obviously. So they have it
Oh
already
yeah.
done.
Since we had this earlier, by the way, fun fact: the Alpha Legion actually has 2 marks. So it's stated
Omegagon and
Alpharius
Alferus
Omega,
and his twin brother. Yep.
and yeah, it's funny, Alpha and Omega.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
know. I wonder if they did that on
Alpha and
purpose.
Omega.
Yep, exactly, dude. So what's hysterical about this figure right here is his weapon looks like absolutely crazy batshit like 50s and 60s science fiction, and I'm all for it, dude. Like the colors on this figure and the weapon, just everything. I'm very tempted right now to put a pre-order in for this figure.
The weapon reminds me of when those figures first came out, like in the like I saw early figures from the 80s, from 80s,
Mhm.
88, 87, all of that at this style, especially when you look at early editions, like first, second edition. There was another army which is no longer existed, the Squad Space Dwarfs, and they had the funniest of items. They had trikes and all that stuff, and the Terminator armors also had like like I don't know if it was called Terminator. I think it had a different name, but was basically their equivalent to Terminator armor. They looked like eggs from
Yeah.
arms and legs.
So Loan Me a Smile says, gonna look pretty stupid if they release Omegagon figure. I agree. I understand the whole storyline behind it. The only reason why I think that they might do something with Omegagon or something is because Alfurius is the only Primarch to be released without a non-helmeted head. Now it makes sense, right? Because they're like, oh, it might be Omegagon, but then again, they're twins, so it doesn't really matter. Like if Alfurius came with an unhelmeted bald pate, it could still be Omegagon. So it doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like I'm actually really surprised that Alfurius did not come, and we'll bring him up on screen here with a helmeted head. So let's bring him up. Uh, so we have, man, they've actually come out with a bunch of figures. But here's Alfurius, and I think from a lore perspective, is he one of the shorter Primarchs, Sonny?
He's definitely not the biggest one. No, not sure if he's the shortest.
Yeah, he does again, he doesn't come with a head, so an unhelmeted head. It's a little light on accessories here. So, but
But
he
that fits because again they're very cheap, so they
sure,
try to keep
sure.
everything like maybe even sometimes the brothers trade armors just to
Oh, I see.
pretend it's somebody else.
So we went through the figures. They look awesome. I'm very tempted to, because I still have, it's just a pre-order right now. I'm very tempted to cancel my Saboteur, my consoles. But then again, I look at them and I like rogues and stuff like that from like World of Warcraft and like RPGs and like Dungeons and Dragons. And these guys look just too cool for me to not have two of these standing next to Alfurius. Plus, they kind of fit like the whole aesthetic of what the Alpha Legion is about, in my opinion. So, um, but it's because they already have enough ball figures. But I don't know if they're gonna have a bald head big enough for Alfurius. So, so we talked about these figures. They look awesome. Let's really quickly go over the price of these, right? So we have 64 for essentially it's the Praetor and Cataphract armor, and then the Lemurian Terminators, these two are each 55 each. Again, this is from the official JOYTOY store, right? So you're seeing what the prices are here, free shipping from here. Then you go over to Cool Toys Club, which by the way, I'm an affiliate. So if you follow the link in here, you get well, you don't get a discount, but but I get something out of it. But here we go with the Cool Toys Club. These are a bit cheaper. If we go here, he's 62.99, he's 64. So again, free shipping from Cool Toys Club. And then LT Cave, which I'm also an affiliate of now, they actually don't have them up here for pre-sale. So we got 64 from JOYTOY, we got 62 from Cool Toys Club, not up for pre-sale on LT Cave. But then here's the interesting thing, what we talked about before, Merch Hammer actually has them up, but they're 69 and 59.99. So 69.99, so about $6 more than Joy Toys, 7 to $8 more than Cool Toys, and about $5 more for these over here. Plus, you still pay for the shipping from Merch Hammer. So as I talked my brain off now, Sonny, and I talked way too much, what is your opinion on the prices here for these figures? What do you think? First, we'll go to Joy Toy. What
Well,
do you
I
think about the prices?
well well I from another store with my figures, so but they're usually in line with what, for example, what they're a bit cheaper than the actual Toy Club. They give a bit more discount, and they also do some often couponing where you can save 5 to 10% depending on, like, if you
Sure.
buy a certain amount, you get 10%. What I think is what all the shops should consider is, what I once saw even with, they did that with the Dev Cops of Greek. They sold the head of 6 figures for
Yep.
discounted price, and it was a substantial discount if you bought 6.
Yeah, that's
I
when I
wish
bought them,
that
actually.
would, like, come back. So that would make things a bit more like, if you say, "Oh, yeah, well, I want to have all of these anyway," so you just put them into a bundle, you know, reduce significantly, so you feel maybe save even the price of a whole figure, like buy 5 get 1 free or something, or
Yep.
buy 6 get 1 free, whatever. That would be that would be great. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, they are big, so the $55 guys, they are usually, that's what the Terminators are usually called. That one, I think, was around the same price as well. The
Yeah.
Blood Angels guy,
Yeah.
they're all like in the $55-$60 price range.
You're right, yeah.
And I mean, when you look at this, supposed to be 1/18 figure and compared to 1/18 figure of Star Wars.
I know. I know. So we got Loan Me a Smile saying, "It'll take me a while to collect the Alpha Legion because I'm still recovering from the Imperial Knight and Team in Angry." Yeah, dude, those are pretty hefty price tags. Imperial, but I think especially after having the Nemesis Dread Knight from the Grey Knights and seeing the Imperial Knight, the lower half is gonna mimic the Nemesis Dread Knight, which means that Imperial Knight is going to be heavy as that is going to be a very heavy figure, which is great. It's going to not worry about falling over for, I think it was like $600 or $700, I forget. But yeah, and same thing with Angron. The only thing I worry about Angron is only pictures that we've seen with him is with him holding being held by that flight stand, because I think those wings are super heavy and he's going to be a topple over expert. So yeah, so I think that that's the case with Angron. But I agree with you, Sonny. I think that would be awesome if when they fully announce all of these figures, especially Merch Hammer, that they do something where you can purchase all the figures at a discounted rate. I want to say when I picked up Horus and the Justarian Terminators and Abaddon, it was the first time they had JOYTOY figures on their site, and they gave you a free T-shirt, and I think that they had them bundled, if I remember correct. I'm gonna have to go back to it, but I agree with you. I feel like a lot of these companies, especially with these new ones, all of them coming out around the same time. These are all supposed to be coming out in May of this year, actually, believe it or not. Yeah, May 2025 is the time for these figures. So I think it would be very smart. I think that's a very good thing. I think you should mail that to them, Sonny. I think you should give them a heads up and say, hey, I think you should do this.
I don't think they will listen to me.
You
Would be
never
nice
know.
though. But
You never know. But yeah, again, I already purchased my Alferus and I got my 2 consoles. These Terminators though, dude, they are very, very tempting to pick up. I'm just trying not to. The way I could talk myself into it to buy more Alpha Legion is if I'm like, well, I really only have one trader chapter that I'm getting, which is the Black Legion. I know I'm getting Sons of Horus, but they don't exist in 40K. They're essentially the Black Legion. So I could talk myself into getting more of the Alpha Legion, but I'm trying to be good. Okay. I'm trying to be good and not purchase more because I'm not going to have any room for these, but these look awesome. So, final thoughts on the Alpha Legion Terminator figures. What's your final thoughts? Good, great.
Yeah, no, they're definitely that's how it should be done. I wish I get that much detail and stuff. Those guys, that would be something. Also, the Terminator's work for them or something. But no, these are just magnificent, and it shows the progress that JOYTOY makes, like over the years, like over the last couple of years. They really upped their game, in my opinion, regarding everything, like with the articulation, with the detail. I mean, the detail on these guys is just brutal. And also that basically at some point justifies the price. Actually,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah. These are the way that I explain it to people. I know that, especially as because you're a collector of other lines like me, I've scaled back what I'm collecting. But when we talk about these Joy Toy, especially nowadays, these Joy Toy figures, essentially the way I explain it is it's essentially like a little hot toy, right? The way that it's a smaller version of a hot toy because the
Yeah,
amount of articulation, the amount of sculpt, the amount of original parts on a lot of these figures is very impressive, and I'm very happy that we're starting to see, like you touched on before, the progression of what Joy Toy is doing with these figures. This horse, since they've come out with the Horse Heresy figures, man, they are just absolutely destroying it. They're doing so good.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And
Yep.
I'm interested to see where it will go with them. So that's why
Yeah.
I hope my money. If they buy, maybe they do some revision of some figures which did not work out. Like the first version, but the second version will be better. So you buy that
Yeah.
one instead.
I know. I know. I have all the I'm sitting behind me. I'm all the regret figures that I have, which are the original Terminators of the Blood Angels, and also the Terminators of the Black Legion, which I haven't busted out yet. But their thighs are just too small. And I saw some in our Discord, guys were posting there are thigh extenders, believe it or not, that extend them out for the figure, so they're larger in scale. So I'm definitely thinking I'm gonna pick those up
what
to bulk up
what
my.
who definitely needs a revision or an update would be, especially because of Space Marine 2 is Maneo's Kalgar,
Oh
because the
god,
figure does not fit
no.
with the Space Marine figures at all. So they would need to update him for sure.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna come out with a Space Marine 2 Marnius Kalganar figure. I would assume that's gonna probably be because what they've essentially said is, and if you look at the most recent releases with Angeron and Dominius, and then the painted figures is they have three different lines that they're doing. They're doing the 40K line, they're doing Horse Heresy line, then they're doing the Space Marine 2 line, which are scaled up figures in a different type of plastic that they have. So it's very interesting the way that they're going along with this. I would say if I had to pick one of those three that I'm just collecting, but thank God I don't. But if I did, I would go with the Horse Heresy figures because these figures are just they are just absolutely killing it with these armor designs, dude. And they're basing it on the Horus Heresy tabletop, which came out, I feel like when did Horus Heresy come out, Sonny? Maybe 10 years ago, if not sooner?
Yeah, I would have to look it up. Sorry, I don't have that. The
No,
thing
no,
is,
that's
I don't
okay.
know everything.
No, no, no,
But yeah,
don't
that's
worry
it.
about
You
it.
only you only have to know where to look for it. Look it up. Now, I think around that time, yeah, could be realistic. Yeah, but
I
I
think so.
can't, because again, after fifth edition, I was out.
Yeah, I know.
Basically.
A lot of people changed it. What we have a question from Corn Blood Raven. What's up, Corn? So one are the painted figures. So we got the Armory Hall edition, which are based on the Space Marine 2 figures. These are going to be coming out this summer in July. And what's interesting about these figures is they use a different type of plastic than what is used on the Horus Heresy figures and the normal 40K figures. So your Titus that you have, your Charion, etc., they're a different type of plastic, which is more suited to like the Citadel type of paint. I'm assuming to be able to paint these figures up because if you look at the McFarlane figures that are supposed to be painted that are all the grayscale, I don't think the paint sticks to them very well. So
I never tried them out. I never. Also, I suck at painting. To be honest, might be
Yeah.
a little easier. Might be a little easier. Figures here are bigger than miniatures. You don't need like magnifying lens and light and everything. A bit easier. But I
Yeah,
don't
you
want to try at all.
you and I are sitting in the same boat rowing right next to each other, Sonny, because I suck at painting too, bro. Don't worry about it. I have a bunch of miniatures people bought me, and I have some paint, and I do want to try painting them, but it's gonna be more of a comedy special because you guys are gonna laugh your ass off because it's gonna look like a 4-year-old's painting by the time I'm done with something. So
By the way, that was also an advantage with the Necrons. Less figures to paint and just used spray paint. Just paint them
yep,
all black and a bit of silvery gray. That was it.
yep. So to
Didn't catch
answer
much about it.
to answer corn, these are not this is going to be a different type of plastic than the McFarlane figures. Again, if you want a good representation, just grab if you have the Space Marine 2 Titus figures, you'll be able to tell the difference with the plastic easily between McFarlane and JOYTOY, but especially these whole edition, the painted figures up compared to the McFarlane ones are very different plastic. So that is the deal with Joy Toy for this week. We got the Alpha Legion, we got a couple different options for pre-purchases. I'm still gonna hold off. I've made the respectable decision or the grown-up decision not to buy into any more of the another Legion other than just the couple of figures that I'm getting. So I'm gonna stick to that. One thing I want to quickly yeah, I'm in the same boat, Smoke. One thing I want to quickly highlight, I know that this is mostly Joy Toy, but I have $1,000 into Bathier for Mythic Legions. So I want to quickly talk about it because tomorrow is the last day of this Mythic Legions by Four Horsemen dragon campaign that they have going on now. It's already hit the minimum goal of 2,000 units, but tomorrow is the last day of this whole thing that's going on. So the last update, and I know Dolphin was in here before giving us, but we got the 4.5 was 9. Actually, it was today. No, today's 4.6. I apologize. But I believe it's it's chugging right along. I think it's at wow, it's at 3,300 yesterday. I would assume that it's at 35, 3,600. I'd have to go to Instagram, check out what he said, or go back in the chat. Actually, what did you think about this campaign? And do you collect Mythic Legions? While I go back in the chat and try to find what Mythic Dolphin said.
So I have a few mythic legions. For example, so I collect more of the frost themed stuff, which I'm
Hmm.
still waiting on. For example, I bought the bear, dwarves, and the Viking themed figures. I still have this. I'm not. What is she called? Like the ice elf or frost elf of the
Yep.
belt that was from earlier mythic legions. Yeah. This is where I had it. Of course, I got the ice troll.
Oh yeah, dude.
It must. Besides that, from for Horsemen, I collect Figura Obscura. So I
Yep.
got, of course, I also
Yeah.
got the glow in the dark version.
Oh wow, you got them
I have
both.
to because because I am a Hessian, so that's where the headless horseman originally came
Yep,
from the
yep,
state of
that's
Hesse.
right.
One of the states. So
Yep.
that's for me a must buy. The from McFarlane from '99 or 2000 from the movie
Oh yeah,
Legends
the one with the
Rebuild. I thought
tree,
that was
right? It came with the tree. That's right.
yeah.
That's right. I remember I used to run a
That was
GameStop and we had that one in my store. I remember sitting there looking at it for a while. I was the manager of a GameStop and we had that one.
I,
So
I don't buy the complete wave store, so I said, oh, that's
no,
getting like also because I'm buying all the Mondo
no.
stuff. I still have a my Mondo Faker to unbox, and
Oh wow, yeah, Mondo's.
Scareglow came out at
Woo.
the same time, and yeah, mm, but yeah, I said I keep it to the ice theme or frost theme stuff, and I also got the figures obscura like the Christmas Stampers, Father Christmas, Ghost of Christmas Past, Jacob Marley, which is a great figure by the way. You asked for the chains are actually pretty solid, and the funny was the
That's a real
extra
cool
head
figure.
inside the safe. That was a nice surprise with them. So yeah,
I remember,
I really
I remember
um,
Punk with Toys accidentally ruined he ruined the surprise. He didn't know. It's not his fault. He didn't know. But on the you're not really like there's an unspoken rule on the Legion's Cabal when these figures, obscura figures, are released that you're not supposed to like what's in the bag or what's in the safe. So that was pretty funny. But are you for this dragon? Are you interested in it at all? Obviously the price tag with shipping to you in Australia
I mean,
is outside of,
I,
you know.
I I unfortunately have to skip this one. I mean, I would be somewhat uninterested actually, but I mean, the shipping cost alone would be
I
like
know,
tremendous
dude.
for that. And I actually wait. I might, I will skip on that, I must say, because I mean, my heart bleeds. But I wait if they come up with another one because apparently this one is going to be very successful, and
Yeah.
I think they might come up with another one. And I hope they either up with like a frost dragon or white dragon, so maybe with, like
Yeah.
freezing breath and everything, or which would be cooler, a Dracolich,
Oh, that'd be
skeletal
cool.
dragon.
Yeah.
And if they come up that, I definitely will get into this. Um, sorry, but and especially currently, I think if I would order it, my wife would kill me.
I I'm a little bit so we got the update. I actually found it from Mythic Dolphin. So 4,000 is the end goal, right? That's the last unlock for the dragon. So right now, as of 9 p.m., the dragon is at 3,386. I think it's gonna hit that 4,000 goal. And then there's an extra
Yeah,
figure for that's released at that time. The other packs at the Epic Wings, the Fiery Breath is like blowing it away because a lot of people are just buying the Fiery Breath to use as like a diorama piece for a dragon because comes with that head and the extra long neck and this huge extended fire that you see on the screen. So a lot of people are just buying that and not buying the actual dragon. And then the Epic Wings is almost at 2,000. My thought is this: I think this is at 3386 right now. I definitely think that it's going to hit the 4,000. 4,000 made of this dragon is still a low number in my opinion because you haven't even hit the Dungeon and Dragons crowd who don't even know that this thing is being released in in a lot of venues. So you're going to have people who run like Dungeon and Dragons games who would love to have something like this hanging over their dungeon like Joe Magnolello or whatever. He has like a whole like amazing D&D setup. Can you tell me he wouldn't love to have like a dragon like this sitting over the top of everything that he has? So, and then
he
the
most
other,
likely he most likely he most likely pre-ordered it,
yeah, oh,
or
actually,
it's part of the crowdfunding.
yeah, absolutely. And then we get actually Mythic Dolphin because I said the name, heard the bells go off, came back into the chat. So at 9 p.m. Bethagar 3386. Okay, so it's still this. So okay, so it's still the same update. Again, I think that this is going to go to the 4,000 mark. I think it's going to hit that. I was already in from day one. I went to Legion's Con this year. I go to Legion's Con every year because it's very local to me. And when I saw this in person, Sonny, I bought nothing else at Legion's Con. I was like, I'm saving everything I have. I'm not going to buy anything and be good. And I'm going to get this dragon. Because when seeing this thing in person is just a totally different story.
Yeah, although I had to buy something that was because of the WonderCon. I saw the goddess from Mondo, so I had to get my hands on
Oh
that.
God. Yeah. So it sounds like you're pretty hardcore into the Mondo motu,
Hey,
right?
dude, I want to tell you, when the 2000X 112 figures come up from Mondo, I will
Oh
be all
God.
in.
See, I'm a Man at Arms fan. So anything with Man at Arms, I buy. Right. So I
Yeah,
got my Mondo.
that one needs an update because the current Mondo one is from the pre 2022 crew. So
Yep.
they're a different design. Now we have the post 2020. Basically, start with the deluxe He-Man with Thunder Punch and battle armor and everything.
Yep.
And my guess is eventually they show up with a new Man at Arms update, and it should actually because there's so much missing. What it needs to be a new figure with a new sculpt. The mace, of course, because that's the iconic weapon,
Yes.
the armor piece, but also a sword. Then he should have the arm cannon of 2000X,
Yeah,
a
correct.
blast pistol, and maybe some other shenanigans, but definitely the arm cannon, the blaster from the 2000X
Well,
should
I
be.
hope they don't announce that this year, Sonny, because I am like I am truly tapped at this point. I can't buy anything else bigger.
Now,
I bought
the next,
the Imperial Knight, I bought Angron, I bought Bathier, I have my cosplay outfit coming, which was a pretty
now
good price.
you can rest assured they don't come up with that this year. So what they have in
Good.
store, I think, is a new many faces is coming definitely
Oh,
from
cool.
Mondo, and then Shira they have new Shira with Swiftwind, so with the steed, with the
Oh,
Pegasus.
very cool.
So but I'm staying away of their like mounts and vehicles because I think they're not really like, I mean, the Sky Sled that they released was $400. In my opinion, that was $400 for what? I mean, for a large piece of plastic with almost
That's a
nothing on
lot
the
of money.
frame. Now this was just, yeah. Then you could say, okay, maybe they expect low quantity. Yeah, you can raise the order quantity by making a good offer. I said that thing should have been
That's
released
a
with a new
lot of money, dude.
with a Man at
400.
Arms. Yeah, they could have, pretty sure that thing could have been sold for like 250. And they could have done like, okay, we get a new Man at Arms and we do a bundle with the Man at Arms, Mondo Man at Arms, and the Sky Sled for 450 to $500 tops. People would have bought that, including myself. But not 400 for a Sky Sled. I mean, hey, even the Origin Sky Sled, which they sold with Prince Adam, that wasn't even sold solo. It wasn't a bundle because even Mattel knew, okay, that little piece of
Correct.
plastic we can't sell on its own. So
Sure.
that's
And then what they should have done, which I probably would have bought, was oh shoot, what is it called, Sonny? The battle wagon that has the sky sled in the front of it. What is it called?
Battle Ram,
The
the Battle
battle
Core.
ram, because I have the Motu Classics one, which I love. And but yeah, that's what they should have come out with. They shouldn't have just come out with a sky sled. They should have come out with that battle ram because that's easy. Like that just plugs right into the front. The sky sled plugs into the front of it. So that way
I
you
don't
probably raise the price a little bit, but yeah, that would have been justified.
I don't want to know what a Mondo Battle Ram would cost. I guess we would talk about then like $900 or something. If they already start with like, what was the Scarecrow amount? That also was like $500 or something. It was too
Yep.
crazy. Even when you look at Hot Toys, they had a dewback with a Sand Trooper, and the bundle was 700.
Oh
And
wow.
Scarecrow and the mount was almost 800. I said, hey, look, yeah, the one got wings, but look at the detail of the dewback. Like you could see every little thing, like the skin was so highly detailed. So,
Wow.
yeah. Now
That's
Mondo has to have, like, they need to do their homework on the vehicles and mounts, definitely. The figures are great. I
yeah.
love the figures, but regarding the mounts and the vehicles, nah.
The Battle Cat was pretty awesome, right?
That looks great. And I wonder if they, because they released the Faker, but only 1,500 of those, I wonder if they release 1,500 duplicates.
Oh
The Mount
wow,
of the
yeah.
Faker.
That's crazy.
They
So
have released Anti-Eternia Battle Cat is existent, although they were also only, I think, was it 1,500 or 2,000 Anti-Eternia He-Man, something like that. I got one of them.
wow. So final thing with this. So I definitely think it's going to hit the 4,000 on Bath here. I think it's going to get especially when tomorrow happens, you're going to see all of the FOMO come in, and you're going to see everybody who has kind of been sitting on the fence for this come through. I think this is going to blast through. I think it's going to hit all the goals. I think it's going to hit that 4,000. I think it's actually going to go to probably almost 6,000,
So
believe it or
I
not.
will, I will personally, I will skip it because I currently have other things, other priorities.
Oh, yeah, God.
I would buy that thing definitely because A, I'm a D&D fan, and
Uh-huh.
B, this thing is that really is off the chain, I would say.
Yeah.
But my hopes are, because other people are pushing this really hard, this crowdfunding, and at 4,000 they can speak of a success.
Yes.
And that I hope that it will come up with even more stuff like that. And again, since I'm more focused on ice, frost, frost ogres, which actually remind me of the crew, White Crew from
Oh,
from
for war.
Wrath
Yep.
of the Lich King. So I hope they bring a Frostworm or Draco, which I will be like that. Then nothing can stop me, and I will definitely put my
Yeah.
money into that crowdfunding.
Yeah, I was the only thing I was a little I was talking last week with T3 about this was the color scheme. I'm surprised they didn't come out first with the red dragon for that, because I feel like a red dragon is the most iconic color. I like the green,
And
don't get me wrong.
by the way, if they had released a Red Dragon, then I would make it happen. If it was Red Dragon, yeah. And even like with the D&D theme, like you put a saddle on it, and there's already lands, so jousting and like dragon lands,
Oh
bang,
god.
so I'm so
Yeah.
so.
I feel like it was whatever. Listen, this is successful. They're definitely going to come out with the dragons. The only two things about this, and then we'll move on, is first of all, the shipping. The shipping is a killer, right? I live
And I would,
local. I
yeah,
live local to them, and I would say probably about 50 miles away, 50 to 75 miles away. And I was thinking of doing the local pickup, so I wouldn't pay
yeah,
that
you can drive
$50.
over there and pick
But
it
the
up.
problem is, dude, like, they already announced, like, you're not gonna be able to pick up your dragon until everybody else gets their dragons, and I
Mhm.
know that's gonna bug me. Normally it doesn't, but something like this is gonna piss me off because 'cause I'm gonna see all the reviews out, and I'm gonna be like, "I want this next to my Master of the Universe Classics Castle Grayskull, and I can't do it until everybody gets their goddamn dragon." So that's gonna piss me off. The other thing that's not troubling, but it's the way that it is with Four Horsemen Mythic Legions is this is like 2 years away, dude. We're not getting this until like a year and a half, a year and 3 quarters. So this is a very far away thing. Just to give you an idea, we got the new Terminators announced from JOYTOY. These are coming out next month, dude.
I mean, I ordered like the bear and all the other figures, which
Last year,
yeah,
yeah.
the
Four
order is from January 24, and we
Yeah,
are
it's
now
2 years ago.
February 5. that's,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
patience.
So
It's
it
actually it's pay now. get later, much later.
Yeah, oh, it's what
Final.
way later. So again, Mythic Legions, I just final thing on this one, I think it's gonna hit all the goals. As far
Yeah.
as collecting, I sold off like 90% of my Mythic Legions last year. What I collect now is I still have all of the vampires. So I
But yeah,
collect all the
regarding the shipping,
vampires.
what is the shipping cost for you for
75
those
bucks. So
75? So
so I said, "Screw it, I'm just gonna ship it to me, 75 bucks. I'll eat
yeah,
the shipping because I want
you
it
can
right away."
expect me. It's about 5 times that much in
Dude, that's
shipping
what I'm
cost.
saying, man. It's oh my
It's
god.
5 times, and a longer wait time.
Yeah, yeah,
With the Mondos,
it's a
it's
longer
with
wait
the
time,
Mondos that's
100%, dude.
also the
That's
Mondos.
rough.
Instead of them, instead of Mondo shipping my stuff from China directly to Australia, it first goes to Texas and then it goes to Australia. So, for example, Kenzo's Creations. He got his faker, I think, in December last year. Mine arrived a week ago.
Wow. So Mythic Dolphin actually just gave me a good piece of lore. I didn't know that Bathier is considered a god. So Bathier is considered a god in Mythic Legions, and that's why there's not gonna be a saddle for him, which is kind of what the guess was for the 4,000 unlock, but they announced it's a figure, and so it makes sense like what Mythic Dolphin is saying here from that perspective. I didn't know that it's considered a god in the Mythic
I think
Legions lore.
I
So
think the name comes from mythology, from some mythology actually. They took it from somewhere else. Not I
yeah,
can't put a thing on it yet, but I think Bathy, I heard that name before somewhere else. So
yeah,
I'm not sure where. I mean, it's like with God of War. The dragon in God of War also had a name from an actual
yeah,
dragon, Norse mythology. So I
yeah.
guess that's somewhere too. The name Bathy.
So again, I think it's gonna hit the goals. I think it's gonna get over to 6,000. I'm already in. I was day one in all of it. I got the wings. I got everything. I didn't even care about the unlocks. I still don't really care about the unlocks. I don't care about the extra figures. I wanted
Although
the dragon.
they look good too. The
Yeah,
unlocks
they
at
do.
they look amazing too.
They
It's not
do.
shabby stuff
Nope.
you're getting for that money. They're
Nope.
really raw.
And that's why I still will collect some Mythic Legions. Everything else I've kind of petered off and sold off. Um, so yeah, so anyway, so that's the deal with this. This is gonna be our last update on Mythic Legions for the dragon. We'll see what happens tomorrow with it. So one other really quick thing I'm thinking of doing is the hat I have is from Starforged. I have the Grey Knights, I have the Raven Guard, I have the Blood Angels. I'm thinking of getting the one Traitor Legion because they don't have the Black Legion. They just came out with these I think 2 weeks ago, but they don't have the Black Legion. So I think I'm gonna get the Horus, the Sons of Horus hat. And I'm thinking of doing a quick review because I've reviewed some of the Starforge stuff. So thinking of doing a quick review on the hats because these are actually really good and they're actually decently priced. I know these ones are a little more expensive than the loyalist um chapters, but this is one of the Trader Legion. I think this is 33 bucks. I think I'm gonna pick this up. Are you a hat guy, Sonny?
So
I'm not a hat
not
guy.
at all. Sorry.
All right, that's okay. We'll move on, but I think I'm gonna pick this up, and then I'll have a nice 4 hats that I can rotate on. So, Warhammer TV, any thoughts on this?
No, not seen yet. Actually, to be honest, no
Yeah,
time yet.
I have a subscription to Warhammer Plus, so I have the Warhammer TV. I'm
Mm.
thinking of doing something with the Hammer and Bolter series, the previous episode with the where is it? It's with the Emperor's Children. And doing well, what I essentially do, Sonny, is if you've seen like my tithes reviews, I will like chop it up from like a 20-minute episode until like a 5-minute episode. And this is not loading great, but
Did you check out the Iron Within app?
yeah, I'm actually gonna check that out. I just did, like I said, on the stream before we started, I was telling Sunny I didn't see the entire episode of Space King 1, and I didn't watch much of Space King 2 by Flash Gets. I just did the other night, and I actually did a reaction. So that's gonna go up, I think, in the next couple of days. I'm almost done with that video. It's like 40 minutes long, though, dude. I'm like telling people as we start, I'm like, go get some snacks. This is a long video. But it was funny. It was good. But I want to do the same thing. I want to start hitting some of these, the Iron Within. I already did this one right here, the Enemy Without Death Watch, and I did the Tithes. I want to do that one episode of Hammer Bolster with the Emperor's Children. That'll be fun. Mythic Dolphin, I'll buy the extra figures from you if you want with respects to this campaign. I will talk to you about that definitely, Mythic Dolphin, because I don't think I'm going to keep the figures. So if I am going to sell them, they will definitely go to you as far as picking them up for me. And I'll be at Legion's Con this year, even though you won't recognize me because I'll be walking around in armor. But I'm thinking of doing some more videos on these. So these are awesome. Any what's your take on Age of Sigmar? Because I was a big fan of the quote unquote old world. All I knew Warhammer, it was Warhammer Fantasy back when I was reading like Matthias Thurman, The Witch Hunter, and Brunner, the Bounty Hunter. I love those books. So what do you think about, I haven't gotten really into Age of Sigmar. What is your idea? What's your stance on Age of Sigmar?
I don't want to. I'm not that deep into this, so I don't want to.
Oh, okay. All right. No, don't worry about it. I'm not going to force you to say anything. So again, I listened to a couple of the Black Talon books on audio a couple of years ago when I was mowing my lawn. So these are pretty good. I haven't watched the animated series that they've come out with. So what else I want to, oh, this is what I want to talk about. So this is one of the reasons I busted out my Tech Marine, which I have to change him into a Blood Angel. So I have to get rid of the gross ultramarine blue on his knee and his shoulder pad. I have to switch that out for a Blood Angel. But one of the things that was data mined, and we're going to talk about Space Marine 2, the video game here really, really quickly, is it was announced that some of the data miners have discovered, again, this is not official, that there's probably going to be an engineer or a tech marine in Space Marine 2 coming up. So that is that's very interesting because I played a tech marine in Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, so it would be very interesting to see if they do come out with this. Would this be more of a melee focused class a la the Bulwark, but with
Should be.
like turrets or something like that? You know what I mean?
Should be. Actually, I think, like, for example, in the role playing game, tech marines are like the tanks, basically, really, really
Oh,
sturdy, and they can take a lot of punishment, even without wielding a shield or something.
interesting.
I wonder where it goes in Space Marine 2, because you already have the Bulwark class and everything,
Hmm.
basically like the Protector. I would assume that he has a more focus like on melee, but even higher damage per second, and more maybe even have a wider radius of action because of the arms, because of the servo arms, possibly.
Yeah.
But no idea how. But technically, they could, like you see with him, and probably also with this technique, maybe you can even equip him for ranged combat. So, like for example, good old Ferrus here has a heavy bolter strapped onto him. So
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
firepower. That could
Possible. I could see them. What we're going to see if they do come out with this is kind of like what they did with, they had a zone class, a zoner class essentially in Overwatch, where they would have like turrets. Like he would be able to put down different turrets, like different servitors, which would guard an area or would do like specific things. And then he would have obviously his bolter, a heavy bolter pistol, I would assume, and then his special axe. Yeah, that's what I think. If it's true and they do come out with a engineer type of the Tech Marine. That's what I think is what's going to happen for this to come out in Space Marine 2. So it'll be very interesting. And then the other thing I want to talk about, so T3 will be interested in this one. So I've been watching, there's a sealed version of this, which is the Death Watch limited edition RPG book that came out years ago, and there was somebody had this for sale, and it was sealed. Right now, I already said that if this was a Grey Knight box, right, and it's all metal and it comes with like the key and everything, it's chained. If this is Grey Knight, I would already have it. Like, you'll be seeing it sitting in my display behind me.
Type in Dark Heresy and then Demon Hunters, but Demon with AE, like Demon Hunters. Dark Heresy, and then Demon Hunters.
Oh wow!
See, there it is. That's a supplement for the Dark Heresy.
Oh no! Why did you show me this? If T3 is still watching right now, I know that he is laughing his ass off right now because
I'm not sure.
No, it's only $24. I'm gonna get this. How many of these do they have? Are these all of them?
Just
oh no!
Just look into my Dropbox.
Oh no!
Because you have Rogue Trader, you have Only War, you have Dark Heresy, you have Death Watch, and you have Black Crusade. All of them have a separate rule book or core rule book, and all of them have supplements.
Awesome. Oh my god. One thing I want to say, Mythic Dolphin. So I'll be walking around the con with my Space Marine armor on. So when I see you, I will say hi. Just make sure you'd be like, hey, it's Mythic Dolphin, just so I know. But yeah, I apologize.
Fun fact, when we started playing the Death Watch role-playing games, my first thought, hold your breath, I want to play a Grey Knight. So I had, because basically it's the same rules. Couldn't get it to work because the Grey Knight starts with 13,000 experience points.
Oh wow!
A huge head start over the rest of the team. They also start with a couple of points, like 2,000, but definitely not 13,000.
Oh no, dude! So Lomi Smile, thanks for stopping in, dude. Have a good night, dude. And I hope that you jump back in and you follow us and you get some more Warhammer 40K stuff here. So thank you for coming in. But yeah, dude, I didn't know that this is, I know this art because I actually made an animated piece of this specific art with the Grey Knight. I didn't know it came from this, and I never knew that they had this. It's only $24. So I'm gonna have to add this to my cart right now. So, and the other thing is I'm guessing is this the only Demon Hunter Grey Knight book that they had of this one?
Well, you have the core rule book, and then of course they release supplements with different kinds, like you got your different chapters, or again, this is specifically for Grey Knights, for example. There's everything you need to start the Dark Heresy as a Grey Knight, if your game master lets you.
I don't, dude. I bought. Let me say something. I still have all my Forgotten Realms books that I bought. From the role playing when Dean. I think it was. I forgot what edition it was, but I bought all of the books because I've always been into like the R.A. Salvatore books. So I bought all of them, even though I did not play the book. I like to read the books.
Must have been maybe around either D20. Could be the third edition.
Probably. I think it was. It was in 90. I think it was in year 1999, 1998.
That could have been, I think that was the transition. Could have been still AD&D, but that was the transition to D20 actually, around that time.
Okay.
When Wizard of the Coast bought TSR and then went on with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I still have all, well, my point is I still have all those books, and even though I didn't play the game, the RPG, I didn't play the role-playing game, I still love, like, there's so much lore and cool stuff in here. I'm definitely going to be picking this up.
We started, like, in the 90s, we dabbled a bit of, like, Dragonlance, although I think that wasn't the ideal campaign setting, actually. So later on, like in 2000, when D20 was out, we went into Forgotten Realms. And yeah, we also tried Greyhawk before, but we stuck to Forgotten Realms because I think it was the most detailed and advanced of them all, of the campaign settings. I mean, there are also some big fans of Mystara, which was discontinued.
Sure.
And yeah, Dark Sun. We also tried Dark Sun. It was also
God, dude.
interesting.
1000% I'm buying. I know. Again, he literally laughed in the chat, but like I'm 1000% buying this. I didn't know that they had this, so that I have to get this. I'll be buying this just right when we finish the stream, and then these were the. I'm very close to because what I was telling Sunny before, I have to get a new roof. 3 weeks ago, we found out we need a new roof, and then this morning we found out our water, because I have well water, looks like we're gonna need a new water pump, a well water pump. So that's like a couple $1,000s. I think I'm gonna drown my sorrows in picking up this one. And man, I'm really like
yeah, I can feel you. I can feel I have to get my cat to the dentist and get a big bill from the veterinarian. and then I need to buy a car too.
Dude, this is so cool. I'm actually going to, I forgot to mention, I'm going to Poland in May for work. I actually wanted to try to stop by the Warhammer World for like a quick stopover, because I have to, there's like a couple stopovers when I'm doing the flight, but I couldn't work it out with the flying. So I originally really wanted to go to Warhammer World for at least one day, but I'm not going to be able to do it this trip. But yeah, I'm very close to picking up. I'm definitely picking up the Dark Heresy Grey Knight book. 1000% I'm picking this up. So it's like $24. Definitely picking this up. But this is, I really am interested in picking up the Death Watch book. I don't think I want, they had a sealed one, but I don't think I'm going to pick that up. I think what I'm going to try and pick up is a cheaper version of this.
I mean, if you open it anyway, you can just go for it.
Yeah, I want to see if I can get a cheaper version of this, because this looks just so cool, dude. Oh my gosh, $1,000 somebody's selling it for. But this is such a cool, like, collectible. Like, it would look so awesome. Oh my god, look at the thing with the purity seals, dude. When you open it up, oh, it's leather bound. No, I gotta stop looking at this. I'm gonna buy this. All right, so I'm gonna pick up the Dark Heresy book. Thank you, Sunny, for explaining that to me. I never knew that this existed before, so that's awesome. Wait, would all the supplements come in the special edition? What's included? I don't know, dude. I'm gonna have to take a look. Maybe all the maybe it's I don't know. I think it's just the Death Watch. Again, if all of the versions come in here.
Just look into my Dropbox. Just
yeah, I'll take a look and see. I'll take a look and see. But yeah, so I gotta stop looking at that. So all right, so I'm definitely gonna pick this up. Anything that you want to highlight really quickly about the RPG game? Because I know that a lot of people probably don't know that there was or is an RPG game of Warhammer 40K.
What specifically do you want to know about it? So
when did it originally? When did this start? What year?
I think 2010, if I recall right. I think Fantasy Flight Game released that in 2010. It took a while. Friends of mine had this on their shelf, but took another 9 years before we actually had a look at it. But now, it was great time. So if you want to, maybe in another stream, I can tell you about my experience with that. So that would fill a whole stream, definitely.
Yeah, we should put something together. We could do this and we could talk about, because is this still played? Do people still play this?
I would guess there are people who are still playing this, because I mean, it's not continued any longer. But the material is there. You can create your own campaigns, like you can do in D&D. Everything is there. The monsters, basically, the other, like the Tau Empire, the Tyranids, is everything there. Necrons.
That's right. So, T3 said in the chat, the Wrath and Glory is the current version of the Warhammer 40K RPG, and that makes sense because I see the advertisements for them all the time. So yeah, so that's the current version.
But is that Also Fantasy Flight Games, but I'm not sure if that's the. Is that Fantasy Flight Games? Because there were some other publishers in the past who had their own, like from Star Wars. There are also several Star Wars RPGs. I'm not sure, but this is the 2010 one, and yeah, it was great fun. Definitely
Awesome.
And you had lots of options. So only war you play with Imperial Guard. In Dark Heresy, of course, you are demon hunters. Then with Rogue Trader, you are whatever smuggler, some more like outside the Imperial, basically. Deathwatch, as the name says, is Deathwatch. And the Black Crusade is with the Traitor Legion. So you play the traitors.
Yeah, the Ordo Xenos, and then the Ordo Malus, the Grey Knights, and then what is the sisters are? The Ordo what for the sisters?
Adeptus Sororitas. They are also in the Dark Heresy. Adeptus Sororitas.
I got it.
They are definitely existing as well. That's for the Dark Heresy campaign or campaign setting.
One thing that I want to highlight really quickly is, and I'm not gonna, we're not gonna go into not totally into this, but this is the Grey Knight cosplay that's being built. It's very, it's very rough right now, but this is the start of it, and it's based upon the JOYTOY figure, which I'm sitting up. I have 2 of them looking at me, and I have another 4 in my display, and I have 2 more that I just ordered. So this figure is what they're using to base the design on, and I bought some extra lifts, so I'll be closer to 6'8", 7 feet tall in this. So I'll be a bit taller than what I'm normally at, but this is going to be completed within the next couple of months, and then I'll be at LegionsCon with this. I'm going to go to New York Comic Con wearing this. So I'll do a quick update at the end of this for each week, so you guys can see this. I also throw these pictures up on Instagram if you want to take a look at them. So, but this is awesome. I can't wait for this to come in. So we will see. It's just like a large action figure that I get to wear. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I think wow, we've been going for 2 hours now, Sonny. So I want to close it up. I want to say thank you for coming on and talking. We got some more knowledge. I got to steal some Iron Hands knowledge, so that's pretty awesome. I want to have you back on when you have time also. And now I know that because of Australia, this works for you, right? So on a Saturday night at this time, this works. So once in a while, we'll switch from a Sunday night to a Saturday night to accommodate some of our international folks. So I think that that's a pretty cool idea. So anything else that is coming up for you, anything that you're doing, or anything that you're looking forward to doing?
I have lots on my to-do list, but problem is the time always, because I'm often involved in like my job, and I had a bit of upskilling to do. I try to get a bit more present this year, but I'm not sure what I will start with yet, so I won't make any any announcements yet, but just maybe have a look at my channel. Maybe something will pop up in the next, I don't know, 3 or 6 weeks. I don't know. It depends on how I find the time, because here it's very common to fly in, fly out. So I fly into my job, work there for a couple of weeks, then come back for a week, then I'm off again. And in between, also my wife wants to spend some time. That's also the things.
Those damn wives, man, they want to take your time. My wife the other day was like, she's like, or today she was like, you're doing the YouTube thing a lot, and I'm like, listen, babe, I'm like, I would be playing World of Warcraft way more than what I do with the YouTube thing, but. Yeah, like I said, it's a balance between your normal life and your fun life that you have, your hobby life. So I 100% agree with you. Yeah, definitely check out Sunny. So is it Sunny Sundries on YouTube? I'm looking for it right now. I'm sorry.
Yes, Sunny Sundries.
I don't know why it's not coming
I
up.
haven't been pretty quiet in the last months, actually too quiet. So I tried to pick up the pace again this year. Yeah, but I reached a regarding like job progress. I have reached a major milestone, I would say.
Oh, awesome, dude.
I try to like I'm still not where I want to be, but I guess like in the next couple of months I can maybe go into like making some more YouTube stuff again.
Oh, cool. So we're gonna see more content from you in the future, then, right?
Hopefully, yeah. I
that's
already
cool.
have the topics and everything prepared. The only thing I have to do basically is film,
Yeah,
filming
listen,
and editing.
I mean, you're a fountain of knowledge, right? You have a lot of stuff that you can share with people, and your content would be awesome. So I would definitely say 100% go for it. I'm gonna throw your link of your channel into chat. Check him out, guys. Subscribe to Suni. He's an awesome dude. He has a ton of information that he knows about. So, yeah. So, anything else before we cut it off for the night, Suni?
Thank you for having me. I thank you
No
for your
problem,
online
bro.
hospitality. It was
Thank you for coming on.
And yeah, I can only say, well, yeah, keep up your good work because your channel is really a blast.
I appreciate that. As long as you guys have fun and it's fun, that I'm gonna keep doing it. Like I said, the biggest thing for me is, you know, this is replacing a hobby, so I'm doing this as a hobby, and so I'm having a blast with it. I'm having an awesome time meeting all the folks I am. We have a Discord now, which I didn't think we would have. We got a lot of fun stuff going on, so I appreciate that, Suni. Yeah, so we definitely have to have you back on.
I hope that maybe some time like this year I will buy a console or a PC.
Oh, dude, you
get
have to
first
get
for
on Space
console
Marine.
and PC later, so I can join maybe an online game.
Yay! Especially when they come out with the Horde mode, dude. When they come out with the Horde mode, we're gonna need people rotating in and out. So definitely. So
24-hour marathon.
dude, oh, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of doing one of those. That would be fun.
Space Marine 2 Le Mans.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're gonna cut it off there, guys. Everybody, again, like and subscribe to Suni Sundries. Again, I put the link in the chat. You guys will see it. If you like this content, like and subscribe to it as well. I'm going to take probably about 20 minutes. Well, we'll say 1:30. I'll be back on. I'm going to do some Space Marine 2 on the PTS because they just last couple of days they allowed the last boss on the new board to be there. So I'm going to try to get to that and fight him and take him out. So that should be fun on absolute difficulty. So again, guys, thank you for watching, guys. I'm Wraith. I'm out. Later, guys.